What's cracking, guys? Bruce Matson here, your host of Metric Scout Fantasy Football. And today I got 3 buys for you at wide receiver for Dynasty. And this is kind of different compared to other buy low videos, podcasts you hear, articles. I'm going to let you know, like, some of these deals may not go through for you. There's just so many leagues, so many different managers, and really we're just tossing shit against the wall, seeing what sticks, throwing some offers out there. What happens here, how I construct these videos is every month here at DLF, what we'll do is we figure out our ADP by doing multiple mock drafts, and then we'll have our ADP listing. From there, I'm just looking at players who are kind of like sitting lower than what they probably should be on value. Look them up on the trade finder, see what they're being traded for, and then I come here and discuss trades on camera. And that's what I'm doing here, just giving you guys ideas for trades. 3 wide receivers on this video, probably going to drop one with 3 running backs. Another thing here too is you always want to be active in your leagues. You always want to be submitting offers, submitting trades, trying to get players on the cheap. You always want to keep moving. Idle hands in Dynasty is the devil's workshop. You always want to at least have a plan of attack. You want to be submitting offers, trying to get deals done. If a trade goes down in your Dynasty league, more than likely, not all the time, but more than likely, one of those teams got better. And that means that's a team that's going to be tougher for you to go against somewhere down the line because that team got a little bit better, if not significantly better. And that's something you want to be aware of. And if you're the one on the end of those trades or making trades happen, you could be making your roster better as well. With that being said, let's look at these 3 wide receivers that we're going to be buying here in March. First wide receiver that we're going to be looking at today is Devonta Smith. Currently has an ADP of 53.17, and he's being drafted as the wide receiver 24. The wide receivers that are going ahead of him in startup drafts per ADP here is Michael Pittman, Keenan Allen, Treylon Burks, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So if you like Devonta Smith better than any of those wide receivers, you may want to try and make the trade straight up. However you want to do it, that's on you. Through the DLF trade finder, here are some trades that recently went down for Devonta Smith. He's been traded for a first and third. These are 2022 picks, a 22nd first, and a 2024 first. So 2 firsts there. And there's a bunch of packages with him. But all for all, the single trade deals with just him for some pieces is pretty much him for a first and a little bit of something else. I feel like that's a good price tag for Devonta Smith. His value has not skyrocketed yet. We're talking about a high-end producer at the collegiate level. At 23 years old, going into his second season, he had a decent rookie year, catching 61 balls, 875 yards, 5 touchdowns, had a 23% target share and 35% share of the air yards. Things should only get better for him going forward, and we should have a wide receiver here with a long career. I think getting him for one of your random firsts this year, like say you're on the clock, you're on the board, and you got sniped on picks, and you're not loving what's there on the board for you to draft, you may want to try and make a trade offer for Devonta Smith, see if you can get him on the cheap. Maybe throw a first and a third, see if you can get him. This isn't the best draft in the world, and if this is a wide receiver that you were after last year and you want more shares, this might be a good time to pull the trigger. If you're not into Devonta Smith, obviously don't trade for him, but the price tag is about a first and a little something something. If you can get him for like a mid-first, late first, when you're on the clock, when that pick's more valuable, that's probably the most conducive deal for you. Obviously, you want to make sure there's no players on the board that you like better than Devonta Smith. I'm seeing Treylon Burks go ahead of him in startups. I have Treylon Burks ranked ahead of Devonta Smith in my cornerstone rankings. I think I might have a few other rookies ahead of him as well, but Devonta Smith is still a good prospect to go after if you can get him at the right price. The next wide receiver that I'm going to be talking about as a buy for March is Jeudy. He has a 72.33 average draft position, being drafted as the wide receiver 36, which is a very good discount considering he's a first-round wide receiver. He's got some production under his belt. The ankle injury slowed him down last year. Bad quarterback play slowed him down last year. Brandon Cooks, Darnell Mooney, Rashad Bateman are the 3 wide receivers getting selected ahead of him. On the Dynasty League Football Trade Finder, we're seeing him get traded for a 106. There was a trade that went down that involved 2 seconds and 2 thirds. There was a trade that went down where he got traded for a 2022 first and Nick Westbrook, and another trade for just a straight up 2022 first. So more than likely, you're paying a first round pick for him. Again, just like Devonta Smith. Pick your spot. If you're on the board, you're on the clock, and you don't like what's there for you, you may want to make a trade for Jeudy. You may want to do that. If there are better options for you, say you like David Bell better than him, or you want to take that shot, draft David Bell. But just knowing the options here of what to buy, and I'm not saying buy him right now, I'm saying be aware of this price. Your draft picks are going to get more expensive the closer you get to draft day when you're on the clock. More than likely, not always, but more than likely it does. That is the fundamentals of Dynasty, really. And you may be able to buy a player like Jeudy, especially if you're not comfortable with what's on the board. That's an option for you. Or you can see if you can slang a high-end second-round pick for him. Or next year's first, which I probably would not do. I do not advocate for that. I said that. It came out of my mouth. I don't advocate for it. But if you want to do it, it's your team. Go do it. A 2024 first and a little something extra, I don't know. But he's being valued lower than he should be. He's falling in startup drafts. We're looking at him. Maybe we can catch him on the cheap. Not all drafts, not with all dynasty managers, but a lot of people watch the show, and somebody's going to be able to cash in on Jeudy. The next player, the 3rd wide receiver I'm talking about for the month of March as a buy, is Odell Beckham Jr. And a lot of people are like, Odell Beckham, he's old, he's always injured, he's a diva. I get it. But he's free. Right now in ADP, 131.33. I mean, he's almost a free agent. He's almost fallen to the waiver wires at that price. Wide receiver, 61. The wide receivers going ahead of him, Van Jefferson, Kenny Galladay, Jacoby Myers. You're talking about cheap jabronis. Odell Beckham's got some talent. He showed you what he can do with the Rams. He's going to be a free agent this year, but the Rams can get him back off that ACL discount. He's come back from an ACL. I get it. It's going to take some recovery for him. He's been injured a lot, but we're not paying anything for him. If he doesn't pan out, no loss. There's no loss in the draft. You're really, when you're at the board at wide receiver 61, 130th, somewhere around there in the draft, maybe even a little later, there's nothing but scrubs there to draft. Odell Beckham could give you some upside weeks. He's an older player. The value's already dead, and you're not trading any value to get for him. Off the Dynasty League Football Trade Finder, he's being traded for a 2023 fourth. This is after the ACL injury. A 2023 fourth is what he went for. Another trade, he went for a mid-second and an early third. I feel like that might be a little pricey. I feel like you can probably get him cheaper, or at least I'm going to be shooting for something cheaper than that. That 2023 fourth is a steal, I feel like, for an older veteran who still has some in the tank, who's going to be with a flamboyant offense, as we've seen with Stafford and company. Fits right in there. I get it. He's going to start a little rough due to the ACL, but this is a good spot for him to cash at. Remember, last year with the Rams, during that back part of the year, he had a 19% target share and a 27% share of the air yards. And that's with Cooper Kupp doing his damn thing. Odell Beckham, at this price point, he's not even a buy. It's just a take. It's just free. You just get him, and you just see what happens. You sit him there. The only thing that you're paying for is holding him as a roster spot. That's about it. But he's not going to bust on you because you didn't pay anything for you. He's a free get, and if he doesn't hit, you just let him hit the road. And that's it. That's all I got for you today. Those are 3 buys that I got for you at wide receiver. Check them out. See if you can get them on the cheap. If you can't, no big deal. Let me know in the comments who you're trying to buy this month in your Dynasty Leagues. Might be somebody else, Or you might hate these guys and you're saying, Bruce, I'm not trying to buy these guys at all. However, make sure you're active in your leagues. Make sure you're trying to get some deals done. Make sure you're trying to make your teams better in the offseason. Don't be sitting around on your hands watching your teams go to hell while everybody else is trying to make their teams better. But I want to thank you for watching the show, sticking with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Every subscription matters. It fuels me to keep bringing this content to you. It fuels me to keep coming up with these ideas to help you guys out with your teams, your leagues, watching tape, grinding metrics, everything else to help you. Again, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.